She's also asleep.
Yeah, thanks.
At the moment. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thanks, Nico. Morning, everybody, and thank you all for joining us on this follow-up meeting. This was designed as or intended to be a follow-up on the previous one we had. So let me just quickly recap what was decided last time so that everybody's on board. At the last subcommittee meeting, we discussed the potential, the possible format of the new environmental audit structure. At that meeting, I undertook to put out a draft document for discussion. Basically, what it was meant to do, or basically what we decided, was that the audit going forward would be structured in two separate sections. One would be an online compliance of legalities and documentation, a system there, followed the following year by a physical audit on site to see what was going on. So that's the background, and we asked for feedback on that and comment. And yeah, unfortunately, there were only a few people that actually gave us feedback. I must say, though, that the feedback we got on the proposed document was very positive. And I think I can mention Letitia and her team from AfriMat were very forthcoming in their opinions. Yeah, so great stuff, and thank you very much for that. For the folks that are on today that weren't here last time, I trust you all have a copy of the proposed environmental audit structure. And before we carry on, let me just run through it a little bit, just to get everyone up to speed. What we said was the audit must take the form of a consultative audit. It's not a fault finding, it's not a finger pointing exercise. It is more to ensure that people are compliant in order to stay out of trouble and in order not to have your operation closed down. So it must be a workable, practical audit system that we decided based on the legal principles, and we are going to use existing information and systems that are available and in place on the majority of the sites that we'll be looking at. So it's on a biannual basis. One will be remote 1 year, and then the next year will be a physical, as I mentioned. Basically, if you looked at the original document that we sent out of the actual flow of operations, which is standard to all operations, if you looked at block 1 on the operational flow chart, that's the legal requirements and the right to operate. And that would largely be what would be discussed in the online audit, as well as a presentation by the site manager or the responsible person, giving an indication and a view of his or her understanding of the environment.
Anthony, you did.
Laws here.
Sorry, you were dead for a second. You're breaking up, Anthony.
Can you hear me now, Nico?
Yes, thanks.
Okay. Yeah, so the audit would also take place would the site managers would have to do a presentation, and that would give an understanding of EMPRs, environmental laws, and compliances. Things that they'd look at on that one would be EMPR, old order mining licenses, new order mining licenses, etc., SLPs, EMPRs, environmental performance assessments, all those legal documents that you've probably got If not, you've got a major problem because you need those to operate. Then on that one, a score would be allocated, so that and obviously any gaps that were identified need to be rectified by the parties concerned. The proposal on the physical audit would be an on-site visit by the auditor, things like mining boundaries, stormwater management, waste management, hazardous material management, dust control monitoring, noise control, alien vegetation. Satellite industries, which I think is a very important one because that's where a lot of people are exposed, would also be audited on that. In order to, especially if it's on your mining site, and a score would be given for that, as well as any gaps and non-compliances would be highlighted. So that's the basics of what was proposed. The feedback we got on that was some clarity was needed on a few of the points, 1 or 2 terminology changes, nothing more than that. And then there was also a suggestion for us to do a workshop on a test run to see if the system would work. So with that in mind, I'd like to open up to the floor very briefly, or just to let's kick off and see, are there any more comments and things that anybody would like to raise regarding the proposed environmental audit structure? Felix, I see your hands up there.
Hi, thanks, Anthony. It's Felix Mutsiri here from Lafarge. Anthony, I don't know what could have happened. I certainly had not seen the draft document. I mean, I certainly would have made an input into that. Are you able to reshare that again? Because I certainly would have liked to make an input onto the draft document.
Okay, Felix, certainly. I'll definitely get that sent to you so that you can have a look at it. Thanks for that. Based on what I've said, Felix, just and I know it's a little bit not a bit quick on you there, but based on what I've said, is there anything that glares out at you that you are not happy with or would like to add on?
No, I certainly am. I'm impressed and concur with the proposed structure. And I'm not sure. Probably, Nico, have we made any headway on appointing Lizette's proposal?
No, Anthony. Lizette's gone. We won't be using Lizette. We're changing the whole thing around. We're going down to the basics and not having somebody running around and so forth. So we're changing the whole way of doing it, and it's so far right to the top of companies. It's been very, very positively commented on that you don't want the head office fly in, crap on you, eat your food and fly out again. That I think with environmental hasn't worked. People were very upset. So we're doing this way that Anthony's proposed, and the first meeting we gave edit. I think just when you click in on the meeting, the document was on the meeting that you click in. So you maybe just have a look at it where you clicked in. Anneke did put that document on. I also went and printed it now. So that's the first place that you could have found it, but we will resend it. Maybe what we'll do is we'll resend it and that graph of the quarry, Anthony, the blocks, the 11 blocks.
Yeah. We can certainly do that.
While I am on the air, and then I'm going to get off again, we had a Minerals Council meeting. Today's Friday, I think it was Wednesday, and it came out of the Minerals Council board meeting that there's somebody that informed us that communities have appointed some boffins, and they're going to be going and looking on companies' websites and asking for the SLPs. Now, what the legal person at the Minerals Council told us is that if your SLP is okayed by the DMRE, then you have to publish it if it's been agreed to. If it's not, then you can't publish it. You can't put it on the website. And they were reckoning that they've heard a story saying that this group, whoever they are, working for communities, will be focusing in on this and then alleging that if you haven't got it on your website or you can't have it and it has been approved, that they will try and apply that your mining license gets looked at, whatever. So it wasn't a Bangmark story, but the person who shared it wasn't a Bangmark person, but he shared it with us and saying the companies must go back. And I think what we need to do is make sure from company side that the DMRE okays your SLPs and that you have it, because and that you have correspondence showing that they haven't okayed it. So I think every company should go and look at all the SLPs they've applied for and see which ones are active, which ones are not, and what are they doing with them, because they're going to apparently focus in, maybe not do word attack, but they're going to focus in on the mining industry. So I think just bear that in mind. Thanks, Anthony.
Yeah, just to add on to that as well, your EMPR performance assessment document from now, actually, from this year, is a public document, and there is a huge problem for any operation. So if you've got your performance assessment has highlighted something, it's public knowledge now, and it gives the NGOs and concerned people a lot of ammunition to come to your site and to start making a big problem. So we need to get our act together, and we need to make sure that environmental issues are treated with pretty much the same importance as the safety ones are. Okay, is there anybody else who would like to comment or say? See, there's a hand going up. Wait, there's a comment here. Yeah, Navashni, as Navashni says, you're required to publish your performance assessment on your website in any case since 2014. So there we go. Yeah. Any other comments? No. Okay. All right. A suggestion for the test run on the proposal, I think, is a good one. I think it might be a little bit premature at this stage because we don't have the full detail and the weighting of what the audit will be. So I think if it's all right with everyone, can we put that on hold just until we've got a little bit more detail of what we're going to include and exclude on the actual audit process? Remember that this document is really it's a framework and a guideline for what we are going to look at. It's going to have to get a lot more detail before it can be implemented. So the way forward, if there's no other comment, I think the way forward is we need to get a bit more detail on this proposal and the format, how it's going to look, how it's going to be weighted, what you're going to be, what you'll score well on, what you'll score badly on, etc. And there we're going to need input from the various companies so that we can align this with the firstly, we're going to align it with the legislation, and secondly, I think we need to align it with the actual sites being compliant. So is there anyone got something to say on that side?
Anthony, can I jump in here? I'm not going to put my hand up because it takes too long. I never get my hand up. I'm just a bit worried.
You never take it down as well.
Okay, sorry. Okay. I'm a bit worried because I'm not into this field, so I'm a bit nervous because I don't know what's cooking around me. But we put on that proposal, proposed structure for compliance audit, and you asked now for the companies to let us have some stuff. Can we ask the leaders in the companies and so forth, to check that and to see, is that list the final list? It's no use we have a list and it's got gaps in. And somebody says, but yeah, you didn't put in this and you didn't put in that, and you have to have this and we have to have that. And that's why I was talking earlier on about having this training. And we must maybe see if we can get this company to do the training for us, to see what does the law require we should have. And if somebody doesn't have a document speaking to that that subject matter, that we get an example. And I think what we did is previously we asked people just to, even if they give us a copy of the document and take the company's name out, and we start using these documents as what do you call it, best practice documents. Because I understand, and again, I'm not, I can't talk with all the things that I have, but I understand that some of the documents that are at some of the companies are wishy-washy. And I understood that from Lizette and even from Alan in the old days, of saying that some consultant copied, pasted, and it's wishy-washy documents and they're lying there. And I'm saying at this stage that this is maybe the opportunity to say to the guys to change, and you need to have this in and that in. So, yeah, I'm just wanting that input, that we have a proper checklist and not some airy-fairy checklist.
No, absolutely, Nico, you're quite right there. And really, the people on the call have got to give us some input. We can't, you know, folks, we're going to carry on with this. This process is going to continue. And if you don't give us input, when it gets to the final stage, it's going to be a bit late. So please, and I'm asking everybody to please give us input and say, listen, we don't like that, or this needs to be included. It's the only way that this audit structure is going to work, if we have input from everybody that's on, that is concerned. Just something else as well, the environmental legislation and requirements will dictate to us that the audit document will have amendments as we go along, with changing legislation as and when it happens. So it's not going to be, cast in stone completely. I think there will be, we must make a provision where certain things can be included, but obviously before that gets done, the communications will be sent out to the various participating members and companies. Okay, are there any other comments from anybody?
Letitia is very quiet today.
Yeah.
But we've made our comments.
we need some more, Letitia, please. It's very quiet on this side. All right. Okay, folks. Without pondering a point, what I suggest we look at as a way forward is to see what sort of weighting we're going to put on the various areas, and put together a draft. It's not really an audit document at this stage, but a broad spectrum audit document where we would put a weighting on certain areas in order of importance and in order of requirements. So if that's acceptable to everybody, I think we can move ahead with that. Yeah.
Just before you close the meeting, I see the next date for this subcommittee, and it's nice when there's more people on than the subcommittee, and we got it wrong for today. We were just running wild, but the 16th of February is our next meeting, and I think by the 16th of February we should have something more substantial than what we think we have. So
yeah,
we will make sure that the 16th gets properly advertised and sent out.
Okay, Navashni just made a comment or asked a question, and her question was, has a decision been made to include third parties into this audit yet or not, e.g. asphalt plants? Navashni, yes, it is. If you read the document that we sent out, on the physical audit side, it is a very big part of what we want to do. It is a high-risk area. If you take an asphalt plant or a ready mix plant or a brick plant, as you're very aware, is where a lot of people can get into a lot of trouble. So yes, it has been, and that on the physical audit side, my opinion is that quite a bit of weighting must be put onto that side. I don't know if you agree with me or not. Navashni, can you comment on what I asked? No, she's lost. Okay. All right. In that, I think, Nico, I don't know if you've got anything else. I think we can pretty much wrap it up and take it from here.
Just one comment, Anthony, and it's not. I always say it's not. There's Navashni now. Navashni, let Navashni go first.
Sorry, Anthony. I was just having problems unmuting.
Finger problem, it's called.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, it's neither here or there. I mean, it needs to be included. However, and if it's in your mining right, I understand that. The problem is whether you're going to actually get cooperation from these satellite industries is another problem, is another issue. And then the other thing we need to think about is that, if we are auditing against the currently approved EMP of our quarries, those EMPs don't contain these satellite industries in it, which means we're not governing how they actually work. So is it actually right to audit the satellite industries if they are not contained in your currently approved EMP?
Navashni, my opinion on that is, on your mining, in your as the person in charge of the site, you are responsible for whatever happens on your site. There's that side of it, whether or not it's in the EMPR. You are by NEMA, you are responsible as the user or the owner or the person in control. And this document is designed to protect firstly the people in charge, and secondly the companies. So it's one of those. It's a double-edged sword. If you have let's say for example, you have a ready mix plant on a mining site, it is your responsibility from a safety perspective and from an environmental perspective. And if they are contaminating, let's say for example their runoff is going into the local water source, you are ultimately the person who is responsible. So, these satellite sites are going to have to, come in. They have no choice.
Yeah,
and that's why
I completely agree with you. I agree with you, Anthony. I just think that you're going to have problems with cooperation from these satellite industries.
I absolutely expect it, Navashni. I think it's going to happen. But, let us as ASPASA, and I'm speaking now with the ASPASA hat on, let us as ASPASA give the site managers or the people in charge at least the tools to be able to keep themselves out of trouble and to be compliant. If they choose to let those operations continue and expose themselves, well, ASPASA can do nothing about that. It will just be reflected in the audit, and at least then the work has been done. But it's the individual's choice whether he or she wants to be legally compliant on the environmental aspects, or whether you're willing to take that risk.
Yeah,
I must say, as a site manager myself, I would most certainly not want to be exposed on that front, as well as my own operations. Because the thing is, and what people need to remember, and this, it doesn't end when you leave the job. They can come after you 10 years later if you were the person that was in charge at that point. So it's quite a nasty law. The legislation is not nice at all, and it's very
You're breaking up, Anthony.
Unforgivable.
Sorry, you're breaking up again.
I say that's what I'm trying to, that's what I'm trying to cover in this document, is just to protect the people, the individuals, and to make sure that the compliance is in place.
I just want to add to what you said and what Vinashni said. Sorry, I've got my tongue all cocked up.
Navashni.
Sorry, Vinashni. I sit here and I know we're dealing with environmental legislation. I can tell you now, I'll put 100 Rand on the table, that mining operations, are having fun coming their way with a PDS system. And those inspectors will close the whole place down if you kill somebody at a ready mix plant, which is on the mining area. I can promise you that. Now, so let's not just forget that these ready mix oaks can do what they want to. We've had examples, which I won't mention the name because both companies are here today. We've had examples where the ready mix guys have just got no respect for the mining license, and the DMRE is going to close us down with TMM, PDS. If you run over somebody and you kill them, they're going to close you down. And then I know what I wanted to say earlier on, and it's not Bangmark stories. I know that some of the CEOs, and I know some of the companies, are now discussing environmental issues at board level. And boy, there's one or two of them that are very quick to phone me and say, what is ASPASA doing? Why did you do this? Why aren't you doing this? So, yeah, I'm just saying, let's just bear that in mind. When this hits the fan, the top guys are saying, well, you didn't do this. Why did you not think about it? Like many other things. So I just wanted to share that.
Yeah.
Letitia?
Okay. Just
Please go ahead, Navashni.
Okay, just a final question. Have we chosen a new auditor yet or not? I might have missed it.
Navashni, the auditor hasn't been appointed as yet. Nico has got plans regarding that. The proposal, or the sort of thoughts at the moment, are that the audit process will start in the second half of the year. It's still a little bit, hasn't been totally finalized yet. So we're just putting forward the proposal of the format. The auditor will then have to audit this format for us. So that is where we are. The request that did come through from one of the sites, one of the parties, was that the auditor must be somebody who understands our industry. And I think it is actually quite important that happens, because we don't need someone who comes from, let's say, the food industry trying to audit us. It's a unique business, this. So Nico is aware of that, and he has got some plans underfoot.
I think just to add to that, Anthony, is that as soon as you appoint an auditor, they want money and they want to go and work. So we're not going to have that threat down our back again. So yeah, it's very difficult to decide on an auditor. We've had some challenges in the past, so we're not going to fall for that one again.
Okay. Letitia, you still wanted to say something?
Yeah, and just one thing I thought of while we were talking, and maybe Navashni can also help here. Will it be possible, because we expect our managers to know the law, to put the actual legal reference to the question? For instance, those 2 or 6 points that Charlene pointed out last time? It is actually under Regulation 34, Appendix 7. And if you don't read Appendix 7, you won't know that the rehabilitation plan and there's 2 things or 3 things that falls under the appendix. So I'm just asking, I know each site is very specific, but just next to the specific question, the actual legal reference and from which act it is.
Yeah. No, look, I think that's a fair comment, and it's not difficult to put in. Just to clarify that as well, in terms of the site's guys their understanding. We're not looking for environmental attorneys from site guys. They must just understand what it's all about and have a working knowledge of the law and the requirements. So let's not kill them with.
Anthony, you're breaking
with
up.
that. Give a comment, Letitia.
Anthony, you broke up a bit there.
I say,
connection problem.
Yeah. As I was saying, just to repeat, Letitia, yeah, we can certainly do that. And, we must just remember that we're asking the site guys to just have a working knowledge of what the environmental legal requirements are, as well as the EMPRs. We don't want them to be specialists, but they must just know what they're talking about. But very valid comment and very easy to put in.
Anthony, may I just comment? I think Letitia has raised something which I like, and I think that's the thing with the health and safety one. Marius, the law is there, and he gives you, and I think he puts it in his audit, and he gives you that. It's easy because we're going to have communities attack quarries, and if the manager says, well, question so-and-so, has your car got tires on? Look under this law, clause so-and-so says you have to have wheels on your car or whatever. It just floors those people. And again, I'm just raising it, that what the people said at the Minerals Council to us is that there's this group of people, and it's most probably a hidden agenda, that are coming for the industry. So I wouldn't want a manager out there in Pofadder to be attacked by some clever guy, which is, oh, you don't know. At least this guy, our manager, not a lawyer, but at least he can stand up and fight his fight to a certain extent, which is
he must. You're absolutely right. He's got to have that working knowledge to be able to, because these groups will come in and they'll push, and the minute they see that you actually know what you're talking about, or you have an idea, they back off. But if they find out that you don't know what you're talking about, well, they hammer you. Are there any other comments, please? Okay, can we then conclude this meeting? I think we've gone through quite nicely. Thank you very much. Can we conclude by saying that the following meeting we will have a broad structure of the audit process, as well as proposed weightings for the specific areas, so that we can discuss that. Is that acceptable?
Yes, it's acceptable.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Hello, Vernon. Didn't see you there. You haven't been around. You haven't said anything.
Anthony, I've been listening to you. That's why I brought in, my environmental specialist. She asked all the questions.
Okay. No, brilliant. No, thank you. Thanks, Vernon. Thank you very much. Okay. All right, guys. If that's acceptable, I think please, if you want to talk to me, give me a call, or send me an email if you've got comments that you don't want to speak about online. And so we can include it in this. Please remember that this audit, this proposal, is not mine or ASPASA. It is the industry's, and you are very, very welcome to contribute and to make proposals and to ask us to change certain things. We will certainly do it because it's designed to be by the industry, for the industry, and will be implemented by ASPASA. All right, if there's no further questions or comments, please have a safe weekend, and we'll see you all together again on the 16th of February. We will send out the necessary things, and we will have I'll send out the documents as well. Okay.
Thanks.
Good. Thank you.
Thanks, Vernon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Letitia. Take care.